What's going on, everybody? Power Metal Ranger here. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the upcoming album from Vivaldi Metal Project. The album is called EpiClassica, and it releases February 22nd. All right, before I even start digging into this bad boy, let's take a look at the album art here. You know how we like to do that, so check that out. Really cool. Really cool. I dig it. It looks like it's in almost like a Roman Colosseum kind of thing. And then you got this big part cello, part guitar, part piano, like monolith almost sitting there. But everything's like all scorched around and it's like on fire. And it kind of gives me the vibes of like listening to your grandmama's kind of music here. This is some metal stuff, this is some powerful stuff. And it really jives with the theme or the style of this group. It's like symphonic metal combined with classical music. So I really think that cover conveys really well what you're going to get in the album. That's always big for me. I like when you can look at the album and get an idea of what to expect, and it holds true. Because I remember the days walking through the CD store or whatnot, and you look at the album covers. If you're trying to find some new music, and nothing's worse than grabbing an album because the cover looks sick and the music ends up being different from what's conveyed from the album cover. So that's why that's kind of a big deal for me. So I think you really get the idea here with this. It just looks cool and classy. It's tight. I dig it. So now, anyway, let's get into this bad boy. And I'm going to tell you right off the rip, this is a beast of an album, an absolute beast of an album. So I want to give you a little bit of background into this just so you get the full scope of this record. So it's 18 tracks, 2 discs if you get on CD, 9 on disc 1, 9 on disc 2, split pretty well. And yes, 95 minutes. You all might be saying, oh, I know how you always talk about you like the sweet spot for you is kind of between 45 minutes to an hour-ish. Yes, this runs long, but it went by so fast. Every time I listen to this album, it just goes by so fast because I'm enjoying it so much, and everything just seamlessly flows into the next song. It just flows so well, and it's cool because it's almost like going to the theater, not the movie theater, but like the performance theater or whatnot, and seeing a orchestration or something like that, where you get like an intermission. That's kind of how this feels. You have disc 1, you kind of have an intermission, and then disc 2, where it continues. So totally works in my opinion. If you're only feeling like listening to something that's about 45 to 50 minutes long, listen to one or disc or the other. If you want the whole experience, listen to both. So it's really cool. It works really well. And I'll get more into the songs and whatnot later. But this album collects the immense talent, and they're not lying, of about 200 musicians involving soloists, orchestras, and choirs. In here that says not only features classical masterworks by Vivaldi, but also the works of other great composers such as Chopin, Bach, Brahms, Dvorak, Mozart, Beethoven. It's super cool how it weaves symphonic metal and just some cases kind of like a power metal or just like a heavy metal style with a real classical feelings. A lot of the songs incorporate the melodies of some of these famous classical works by these famous classical composers. But not all of them, feature like a melody, but others they all still they just have this feeling of it being classically inspired, whether it's actually has part of a melody of a classical song or not. So it's really cool with that regard, and it's always a fun treat when a song is going, and then you get a classical melody that goes in there. But it's never just a simple, basic melody. No, it's whether it's being sung or just a bombastic orchestration of it. It's not just like a simple piano melody. You're getting like symphonic metal style of these little bits and pieces that are sprinkled throughout the album from these classical works. So it makes it really fun when you hear them, because you kind of get amped and it just sounds so cool. But not only that, but of these like 200 different musicians, it's got people from all over the place. Just to give you an example, and I'm going in a little more detail on this album than I do on most, but there's just so much packed into here. I really, really want to convey the scope for you guys out there. I feel like it's really, really important for this album thoughts, because again, it's my thoughts, and this is what I want to say. So I want y'all to know this going in. This is me just conveying my thoughts about this album, and this plays a big part into all of it. So, but yeah, all songs include vocalists, band, orchestra, and choir, as well as featuring a cast of internationally recognized metal and classical artists. Among them, I'm not going to tell you all of them, but I'll give you kind of a spotlight here. Jeff Scott Soto. We got folks from Testament, Stradivarius, Visions of Atlantis, Anders Johansson from Manowar, Dirk Verburen from Megadeth, Serenia, Exandria, Alina Sirala from Leaves' Eyes, Giacomo Voli from Rhapsody of Fire, which we all know on that latest album. That dude's voice is just magnificent. Sonata Arctica. I mean, it's just out of control. And it's got from Catalyst Crime. It's got the lead vocalist from there. And the thing that's wild is you have all these people, and it's just organized so well, and you just hear like multiple different voices on different songs, and it's just all utilized so well. And like the solos and the musicianship is nuts, because not all these are like the vocalists from the bands. It's also just the musicians and various things. But when you're listening to this album, you just can hear the talent. I mean, this speaks for itself. I'm listing off some of the biggest acts in the world when it comes to power metal, symphonic metal, heavy metal. It's just insane, absolutely insane, and how it all comes together. You would think with that much, it would just feel kind of bloated, or no, it's impeccable. It's just arranged so well, every song. So, like I said, there's 18 songs, 9 on each track, and just to give you somewhat of an idea, I'm not going to go through every song. I want a lot of it to be surprises, but if you saw my recent reaction to the new single, the second single, Tears to Splendor, sorry, there's so many songs, Tears to Splendor, it features Dvorak's Symphony No. 9 from New World, which I mentioned in that reaction. It's one of my favorite classical pieces of all time. So that was amazing, and that song is amazing. But there was another real treat for me, because another one of my super favorite classical pieces is featured on track 3 on disc 2. The song's called Mania, which is also a wild song. It's really cool. I really don't want to spoil much for everybody, because I want you to experience everything. But that song features the aquarium from the Carnival of the Animals, which is, again, one of my favorite classical pieces of all time. So when that came up, I was just super stoked, and it's just so cool. But there's so many more surprises where all that comes from. Again, I want y'all to experience it for yourself, so I'm not going to go into too much details about each individual song. But now, just from what you can expect from this album, it's truly, at the end of the day, it's symphonic metal. But yes, there are a lot of power metal elements at times, and in some songs, some heavy metal elements in some of the songs, but more often than not, it's really a symphonic metal, because you always have this symphony behind these songs that just creates such a grand, epic scale. And every single song, it is truly breathtaking, truly breathtaking. Again, you would think that it may wear thin by the end of the 95-minute run or whatnot. No, every single song is so well crafted and stands well enough on its own, like so well on its own, that it's just remarkable. Like, it's top notch symphonic metal. It's as symphonic as metal can get, truly. It's got big choirs, it's got chants, it's got just top-notch vocalists. It's got moments of beautiful female operatic vocals. It's got moments of power metal style vocals, moments of the real symphonic metal style vocals, and it's also got some harsh, more edgy, kind of heavy metal style vocals. It's just such a joy to listen to, because every song is different and you never know quite how each one is going to play out, but it just works so well together. You have incredible string. Y'all know I'm a fan of string instrument like violin, cellos. It just incredible, sweeping piano melodies, and just breathtaking piano work here on this thing. Guitars, the solos, everything that comes to mind if you think symphonic, it just throw it all together. It's here on this album. I can't overstate how the production on this thing is immense, absolutely immense. I had no idea how it was all pulled together with so many different musicians, so many different styles of singing, and every type of symphonic element you could think of all packed in here, but arranged and composed so well. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. Like I said, the production on here, I was trying to do some work for my day job the first time I was listening to it, and I would find myself stopping my work and just kind of listening and just being in awe of, like, thinking, are you serious? Like, this is epic. This is nuts. I mean, I know I'm kind of gushing here, but this truly is at the peak of symphonic metal. It's got everything. If you're a fan of symphonic metal or classical works, or just metal in general, power metal, you're gonna love this thing. It's just the talent is out of this world. And like I said, I think I pretty much covered all the different types of vocals. I mean, the instrumentation, you get big choirs singing and just sweeping instruments, whether it be piano or guitar or stringed instrument. It's just truly incredible. It's just truly a masterclass of symphonic metal. I really can't overstate that. It truly is mind-blowing. That's my humble opinion. I was just kind of in awe while listening to this album, the sheer quality of it. So that's really what I have to say, and that's what you can expect from this thing. It's just symphonic metal on steroids, like at its peak, with every type of classical instrument and orchestra you could think of, and incredibly solid vocals. Well, you'll recognize a lot of them and be like, wow, this is so cool. It's beautiful operatic vocals. It's just remarkable. And then again, the surprise and the joy of hearing some of the melodies of classical pieces thrown in for good measure. It's just insane. This whole thing, all 95 minutes, it's wild. So truly check this out. Do not miss this one bit. Do not. I'm telling you. And y'all know I like to say one song, that if you're going to listen to one song to decide whether you want to hear the whole album or not, I try to tell you my opinion of what song would be the best entry point to get you intrigued and to get you into the album. You could almost pick any of these songs, to be honest with you, 100%. I would almost just say, just start the album and you'll be in love with it. But close enough, because if I had to pick one, I would say start with Threshold of Miracles. It's actually just track 2 of the first disc. But I feel like that really incorporates a lot of the elements that you can expect throughout the whole album. Really gives you a good idea of the grand and epic scope of this thing really well. So if you're really just going to want to listen to one song to decide on if you want to hear the whole album, check out Threshold of Miracles. That's my personal opinion, but actually my true opinion is just listen to this whole thing. But hey, anywho, there was a lot to unpack here, and I'm sure I still didn't even cover a lot of it, because it's just, there's so much to enjoy. And again, it's symphonic metal at its absolute peak, and with good measure of power metal, heavy metal thrown in, and operatic and orchestras, and just the musicianship. And it's just a joy, an absolute joy. Do not miss this thing. It really is remarkable. I had my hopes up really high when I first found out about it and checked out Hymn of Life, I believe it's called. The first single release from this album. And seeing the description, and I was like, well, this sounds pretty well. And it is. It totally lives up to it. So, my final words on this bad boy is it's called Vivaldi Metal Project, but I think it should actually be called Vivaldi Metal Masterpiece, because that's what this is, a masterpiece. So there you have it. That's my thoughts. Can't wait for everyone to hear this thing and discuss with me on how blown away you were. But anywho, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all next time. Ranger, out.